Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Mel here from Islamic Origins, and we have the linguist back who's going to be looking at the critical reanalysis of Quranic diction. Welcome back, linguist.
Thank you for having me. And today I'm going to present the first in a series of presentations that provides proof beyond reasonable doubt that Islam's core vocabulary is Himyaritic, which was a Jewish kingdom of South Arabia. We'll see that the linguistic evidence contained in the Quran, Islamic vocabulary, phraseology, does not match with its creation myth, nor a pagan-dominated society as purported by the sin.
So I'm interested, actually, you mentioned about its Himyaritic in origin, which is a Jewish kingdom in Yemen, which is very interesting because the latest videos, particularly following AJ Juice, strongly suggest a Jewish link to the origins of Islam. So I think this is a further plank in that case. So this is really exciting stuff.
It is, and I'm inclined to agree with him.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yeah. Okay. Without further interruption, I'll let you carry on.
Sure. So in today's presentation, we will focus on three nouns, Rab, Hadu, and Muhammad, which is the last, which are the nouns of the last sentence of the Ya 1028 inscription, which has been featured previously on this channel. And the last sentence being Lord of the Jews by the Praised One. So let's jump into it. The Quran uses the word Rab 975 times to mean Lord. In the Quran, no other word is used with this specific meaning. Rab is only attested in 4 Jewish inscriptions from the Himyar prior to the usage in the Quran with this specific meaning. In all 4 of the inscriptions, Rahman is identified as Lord. In 3 of the 4 inscriptions, it directly states Rab of the Jews. And in 1 inscription, it states Rab of the heavens. Preceding these Himyaritic inscriptions, the word Rab is only used as an adjective in reference to deities, as in KTU, which stands for the German Klei alphabetische Texte aus Ugarit, 124, Adon Ilem Rabum, Lord of the Great Gods, where Ilem is gods and Rabum is the adjective meaning great, and Adon meaning Lord. And obviously the adjective is agreeing with the noun for number, because it's a plural. The feminine version, Rabitu, was used to mean lady when referring to a goddess. Is only found in the Phoenician, as in KAI 10, so that stands also for a German term, Kanaanitische und Aramäische Schriften, Harabitu Balat Gwul, the Lady Ballad of Biblios, and more commonly in Neo-Punic examples. Here we have Le Bina et Hamikdash Zot Le Rabitu Le'elat. So that means to build this sanctuary for the lady, the goddess. And another example is La Rabitu Vela Adon Baal Gemon, to the lady and the Lord Baal Gamon. If Rab was used to mean Lord in any Semitic language, except the Jewish inscriptions of the Himyar, it referred to noblemen, chieftains, commanders, and teachers, never deities. In all other instances, it was used to mean either the adjective great or many. And a couple of examples are, for instance, the Akkadian Rabum, meaning chief, or the Akkadian Bianu, meaning commander or high official. And of course, everybody knows Rabbi, which is Aramaic or Hebrew to mean Lord as well as teacher. And this is the first inscription. CIH 543. The context of this inscription is a prayer for the members of Sharum's household in the name of the heaven, Israel, and their God, the Lord of the Jews, who assisted his servant Sharum. We have another inscription, which is in another type. This is what's called a minuscule inscription, which is a religious text predating Islam and is simply a monotheistic template prayer, which was adopted into Islam. If this script was found on a rock in the central Hijaz, it would go a long way to prove the sin. Yet this specific text was found deep in Yemen, roughly 100 kilometers from Aden.
Just a quick question. Is the script that we're seeing on the rock there Sabaic?
It is, but it's another font. It's another way to write it, but it's still Sabaic. So you would probably recognize this text in the name of Allah, the Rahman. Have mercy upon us, O Lord of the heavens. So this would be Bismillah, Rahman, Rab, Shemaut.
Yeah, and this is a Jewish text, right?
It is a Jewish. Well, it's a monotheistic text. We are not 100% sure this is Jewish, but it's for sure a monotheistic text. Yeah.
Well, if we consider the fact that it was predominantly a Jewish kingdom at that time, it's a fair guess that it's, given the options, is probably most likely Jewish rather than a nondescript monotheism. Is it not?
Well, the Jews in the Himyar did influence the locals, so to say, in adopting a form of monotheism.
Okay.
So they weren't maybe rabbinically Jewish, but they were practicing a sort of Judaism, and there were obviously also Christians.
Yeah.
Of various types.
So it's not to oversell this. It's certainly a Jewish influenced text, if not definitively Jewish.
It's either one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's either one. The next one is a bigger text. This is the one you have looked at in a couple of previous presentations already.
Yeah.
This is the victory stele that commemorates the victories of King Yusuf, named Du Nuwas in Arabic legends, against Najran, a mostly Byzantine style Christian city, and the Abyssinians in various places. It asked for blessings for King Yusuf and his supporters, and for the protection of this inscription, all in the name of the mighty God to whom the heavens and the earth belong, the merciful one, the Lord of the Jews, the praised one. Here's the text in zoomed in. So here it says Rab Hud Be Mhmd.
So if you didn't catch that last part, Muhammad or Mahmad.
Well, it could be Mahmud or it could be Muhammad. We are not 100% sure.
Yeah, depending on how you vocalize it, yeah.
Yeah. And again, we see the usage of the word Rab to mean Lord. And in this case, this specific Lord is a deity, i.e. meaning God. What's also interesting is that in the Syriac book Ketaba da Himyare, the book of the Himyarites, which is a chronicle of the persecution and martyrdom that befell the Christians of Najran in the kingdom of Himyar at the hands of both the kingdom itself as well as the Abyssinians during the time of this inscription's date from a Syriac Orthodox perspective. It suggests that King Yusuf took vengeance for the burning of the synagogue of Najran by the Christians, which he saw as a targeted attack on the Jews of Najran. We don't have sufficient evidence to say if the synagogue burned down due to an accident or that it was indeed a targeted attack. But we do have some limited evidence for rising tensions between the Christians and the Jews and other monotheists in the century prior to this battle.
Yeah.
And it's probably due to both religious as well as political reasons, mostly Byzantine influence.
Mm-hmm.
The next inscription, RY 515, is an inscription that was made after the Ya 1028 inscription. The context of this inscription is a graveyard roughly 120 kilometers to the north of Najran. And again, we see the use of Rab as Lord. We'll see this inscription again in some more detail for the context of Hud.
Yeah, and it's Lord of the Jews again, so this is very definitely a Jewish inscription.
It is. It is. We will see this inscription one more time in slightly more detail. Hadu. The Quran uses Yahud, meaning Jews, 8 times. The spelling is, as one would expect, based on the spelling conventions of other Semitic languages. In the year 523 CE, at the height of Jewish control over the Himyar, we have 2 Sabbaic inscriptions, the ones we just looked at, with the initial J dropped. The only inscriptions that attest this spelling in any Semitic language prior to the Quran. This spelling changes the meaning to those who guide. See for reference the Syriac, Hadi, either with a long I or a short I. The Quran uses the spelling Hadu 13 times.
Did you mean to say J dropped, or because you have Y dropped on the screen? Just want to check there.
Yeah, you transcribe the yud or the ya sound with Y.
Okay.
So it's both an I sound and a J sound.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's why. Yeah. And we're looking again at the famous inscription from King Yusuf. And here it mentions an important person, Sharachil Yukbul of the Yazan tribe. And he is mentioned as a Kal, which means that he's the speaker of his clan, which is an important function. So basically, he's a general.
Okay, so this again is a Jewish inscription, and we can see that this word Hadu, which is found in the Quran, same as before, these are all found here in these inscriptions, and they're definitely Jewish vocabulary from way down south in Yemen.
Yeah, but there are inscriptions that use the Y. These are the inscriptions that have the Y dropped, which is significant because it changes the meaning from Jew to mean leader. And you might also notice this word, musnad, which is cognate with the Arabic sanad, to mean face of a mountain, because usually they were making inscriptions on mountain faces, and in Persian it means document.
Okay. And what's the significance of that word?
Well, it's not significant. It's only that it is
just in terms of the meaning of it, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we're looking again at the RY 151 inscription. Here we have Muawiyah, son of Waliyat, Naimat, son of Malikum. And here we have an important function, Maktat, meaning deputy. And here we have the same name as we saw earlier in the 1028 inscription. So this is this speaks to the importance of, again, this person being the deputy of the king.
So this Muawiyah here, which is sometime in between the 4th to the 6th century, is a Jewish person. So when we see the same name up in the 7th century, another Muawiyah, we can probably say that this name comes from down here, because Mavia would be the local Syriac form. Would that be fair to say, or can we deduce that?
No, it's the same name, and as you can see, it's about 3 generations from this deputy. So this would be around the time that Muhammad is starting to get his revelations according to the sin. And this Muawiyah, this name is derived from the word Al-Awa, meaning the constellation, the Howler. So it's the same name as the first and second caliph of the Umayyad Caliphate.
Yeah. So it's not connected to Mavia at all. It's a different name.
No, it's the same name. Muawiyah.
Yeah, no, but there's a Mavia, which is like a
No.
That's a different.
No, that's Syriac.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
Now we're getting into the most contested word, I think, Muhammad, which is a very rare word with less than 20 attestations throughout the entire Semitic corpus prior to the Quran. Its earliest attestations are found in 2 Ugaritic clay tablets from the 13th and 12th centuries BCE. It is used in the Old Testament 8 times in various forms throughout 5 chapters. The Talmud uses this word only in quotes of the Old Testament. It has 4 occurrences in the epigraphical record of South Arabia, found in 2 pagan inscriptions, one without an explicit religious context and one Jewish inscription. There is one Safiotic inscription where it appears to be used as a name. The tribal affiliation within this inscription could suggest a South Arabian origin, and then the Quran mentions it 4 times.
Exactly.
It's 4 times.
I'm very surprised to see the fact that it's found in 2 pagan inscriptions. Is that because it has a kind of like a more generic meaning, as in like precious or chosen or something on those lines? Is that?
No.
No.
There it's used as a name. You will see the inscriptions.
Okay.
But those are theophoric names.
Okay.
So the first inscription is from Ugarit. May the rocks bear you much silver, the hills choicest gold. May magnificent gems be brought to you. This is quite a poetic translation, which is from the paper A Reassessment of Ashira with Further Considerations of the Goddess. If I would read this transliterated Ugaritic as if it were Hebrew speakers would understand it totally, except this last word. Only the grammar would be a little bit off. So in Hebrew, this would read Tewolacha Harim, Meot Kesef, Gavaim, Muhammad, Charutz, Yevolacha Adar, and then this word Katzim doesn't have a cognate in Hebrew or Arabic.
So Mhmd here is essentially an adjective to mean most precious or choicest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in this paper, they chose to translate it as choicest, so the best choice.
Yeah.
The next inscription is a more wooden literal translation, mostly taken from the dictionary of Ugaritic language in alphabetic tradition. Here again, as you can see, it's used as most precious, and this word has a cognate in Arabic, adaba, to cause one to be deterred, to beat or chase away, and the rest is basically fully cognate with Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
What is interesting is here the word for palace, or your palace, because the K here is the pronoun for your, and here is house, bite, but with intermediate H, meaning house is off, and if they combine it with the singular for palace or temple, this parallel is used to emphasize the magnificence of the palace or temple.
Okay, yeah.
The next one is also Ugaritic text. They went to Lebanon and its trees, to the desired cedars. Look, the Lebanon and its trees desired for its cedars. Here, it again is used to indicate that the cedars are desired.
Yeah.
And this word has been left untranslated in the standard translations for this text, but it's originally an Akkadian or North Akkadian Assyrian word, Sirara, which is the name for Mount Hermon. Meaning, the literal meaning is shining, but it's used to indicate that it's a snow-capped mountain which is shining bright.
Okay, yeah.
And interesting also is that it's used in Hebrew as Sirion, meaning armor. In Jeremiah 46:4 and 51:3, as in shining armor.
Yeah.
Now we get into the Bible. The Hebrew has roughly double the number of attestations compared to Ugaritic. It by far is the language with the highest use of this word, and thus highly relevant for analyzing the meaning and context of Muhammad. Mm-hmm. 1 Kings 20-22 records a series of wars between an Aramaic king, Ben-Hadad, and King Ahab of Israel. Verse 6 is part of a message that conveys a threat sent by Ben-Hadad through his envoys to Ahab, verses 1 through 8. The messages in between King Ben-Hadad and King Ahab are recorded in Hebrew. For further context, this first war ended in a signed peace treaty, which made Israel and Aram Damascus allies, which was followed by the Battle of Karkar in 853 BCE, which is not included or lost from the book of First Kings, probably due to edits around the mid-6th century BCE, to which this book is traditionally dated.
But at least we can see there, centuries after the Ugaritic inscription, yes, that you still have that sense of desirable present in the word.
That's exactly. So the Hebrew reads, Kal Mahmad Anecha Yasimu Beyadam Ve Lakahu. And in the New American Standard Bible of 1995 follows the Hebrew word order very closely compared to other translations. So this is quite a literal translation. And then in the Christian Standard Bible, it has more of a wooden literal meaning of the expression desirable in your eyes into English.
Yeah. Okay.
In Ezekiel, it's used multiple times in verses 24, 16, 21, 25. As Mahmad en Necha, your desirable in your eye, singular. Mahmad en Nechem, so that's your plural. And Mahmad en Nehem, meaning their eyes. So desirable in their eyes.
Yeah.
Hosea, chapter 9, relates prophecies about the distress of captivity Israel will endure for their idolatry. Verses 6 is a threat that speaks on what Egypt shall do to them if the Assyrians fail. Egypt will cause nature to take over their civilization. So this reads, Mahmad lekesef, Kimos, Yari, Yarash Shem. So this is a pretty literal translation, only the word order is obviously different because it's a different language.
So it's not a prophecy about a prophet Muhammad of traditions. It's talking about silver. It's saying it's precious silver.
And this is talking about precious silver. Yeah. There's no prophet here.
Yeah.
Then we go to Lamentations 2, which is a poem with stanzas consisting of triplets, except 2:19, which has 4 lines. The poem is an alphabetical acrostic, meaning that the first letter of each line spells out the Hebrew alphabet. Verses 16 and 17 need to be swapped for the correct alphabetical order. And again, we see the expression as used in 1 Kings 26 and in Ezekiel 24, 16, 21, 25. However, the grammatical structure is a bit different. Mahmadi is a plural construct state instead of a singular as in the previous verses. And the I part is not inflected for a number or person. And the construct state itself in Semitic languages is roughly equivalent to the compound nouns in European languages, where 2 or more nouns are combined to form a new noun with a separate meaning. For example, nightshade, which is made up of the nouns night plus shade, but has a totally different meaning.
So the Mohammedim here, it's not really plural, is
Mahmadi.
it? Or Mahmadi, sorry. It's not actually plural. It's more am I understanding you right?
No, it's plural because here it describes everything, all. So it's agreeing with all.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure I understood it. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, so it reads Vayirok kol Mhmd ein be'on. And he has slain all the pride of your eyes in the tent. So that is what it says, and it's plural only because all is a plural word. It's just agreeing with this word.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, there is no Arabian prophet to be found here.
Yeah. Okay.
And here you can see that the lexical that the translation cannot be matched fully. So I show here two translations. One is pride, one is pleasant. Which one is the correct one in English? I don't know, but the meanings are close.
Yeah. Okay.
Again in Hosea 16, the New American Standard Bible of 2000 is matching the word order and meanings in Hebrew quite closely. And then you see the King James Version giving a more poetic translation. Vahamiti Mahmat Betan. So again, the Mahmadi here is the precious or beloved fruit of the womb, or the ones in the womb.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the big one. Song of Songs 5, which is a poem with multi-levels of meaning. The literal reading of Song of Songs 5:10 through 16 is a woman describing her lover through far-fetched, extravagant metaphors. A secondary reading reveals a motif that describes Jerusalem and its temple in particular, pillars of marble set upon pure or refined gold, cedars of Lebanon, all used in the construction of the temple. The temple motif is linked to a messianic reading of this passage, which I won't go into since that's theology and not linguistics.
Yeah.
But what this passage is not describing is an Arabian prophet, unless you're going to argue he is the Messiah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the complete Tanakh translation is the only one that translates this first word, Geku, correctly, as he spell it. And the Wycliffe Bible, the translation is from the Greek, which preserves the plural of intensity in these two words, Mamtakim and Mahmadim. So most sweet and all desirable. And the first word is read as if it were with an Aramaic understanding, that being the soft tissue of the throat. Yeah. Also notice here this word, which is translated as my friend, generally in this verse, is literally the word meaning shepherd. It's also used as neighbor and friend. So in Exodus 20:16, thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. It's used. Yeah. And in 20:17, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or his male servant, etc.
Yeah.
And in Proverbs 3:28, you do not say to your neighbor, go and come again, tomorrow I will give it when you have it with you. Yeah. And the use of neighbor is interesting because the primary meaning is shepherd, meaning that your neighbors are supposed to look out for you.
Right, okay, I like that, yeah. Are you your neighbor's keeper then has an interesting extra meaning there, yeah.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. So when Jesus was talking about a good neighbor is supposed to look out for you.
Yeah.
As well as you to your neighbors.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. So a lot of the Hebrew and presumably the Aramaic connected to it is deeply laden with meaning.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah. Okay. Stuff.
Here's an other translation, which again shows the lexical mismatch between Hebrew and English. So this is the Amplified Classic Edition translation. And you see that they use both delights and precious for the meaning lovely.
Yeah.
Mhmd.
Yeah. Okay.
And now we're going to look at a couple of South Arabian Sabbaic inscriptions. This is a nafs or a gravestone with text. And the script here that is used is what's called monumental incision. And this is the text. Funerary monument of Muhammad or Mahmud. Again, we're not sure which pronunciation would follow. Son of the tribe of Wasiat, and may strike down Athtar, anyone who destroys it. So here it's being used as a name, but clearly by pagans.
How can we tell it's by pagans? Is it because of the Attar?
Yeah, so this is Ishtar.
Oh, okay, yeah, the god that's associated with Iraq as well. So it's
exactly, and the South Arabian rendering is exactly the same as in Ugaritic for this goddess Ishtar.
Yeah. The equivalent of Ishtar would be Aphrodite.
In Greek, yeah.
Okay.
This one you will find very interesting because this is a stela with a scene for an individual named Muhammadun from the same clan, the Wasiat clan, just as previous slide, from the same period. And this period is also interesting, the late 2nd to late 3rd centuries CE, because this was the period that there were wars amongst the Himyar, the Saba, and the Hadramaut.
Yeah.
And in this picture, I'm not sure if you can tell, but in top corners, the upper corners, you see bunches of grapes. You see an individual, and in his hand he's holding a bird, possibly a dove. So this could be a depiction of heaven. And you have talked about heaven and grapes in the past as well.
Yeah, interesting.
So this may be a common theme throughout the Middle East or West Asia, however you like to put it.
Yeah. I think it probably stems ultimately from Greek mythology. That's how the Greeks imagined paradise as well, and maybe goes further beyond that. So it's a very common motif across the Middle East anyway.
And this confirms it. Now, here is the text itself. It's not all that interesting. The first word, sur, is a cognate for the Hebrew tsiur, meaning painting or drawing, and the Arabic surah, meaning picture or image, which is self-explanatory because it's an image.
Is that the same word as surah as in a chapter in the Quran? Is it connected?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Let me check quickly.
Yeah, because so then the Quran is like a series of images, pictures, story, and narrative. It has lots of potential meaning.
No, it's spelled with the sheen instead of the.
Oh, okay. So it's not. So we'll throw that one out. Okay, straight away. We'd have to consider it. Yeah. Make sure we cover every angle. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't recall just on the top of my head. It's spelled with the sheen.
So we can see there that so that one. Sorry, is it? I'm just trying to figure out. Is it Jewish or pagan or
Well, here there's no explicit mention, but it's the same clan. This particular clan was probably a powerful clan.
Yeah.
Because the clan name suggests that they had a generous supply of water, because this term without the final T is used to indicate to give generously and especially water.
Okay.
Nice. So it was a powerful clan. That's what we can tell, but we can't tell based on this inscription alone. But since it's the same era as the previous one, I would assume this is pagan as well.
And the one that was pagan, did it mention the clan's name, the same clan's name?
Yeah, I did. I can go back.
It's
the same clan.
Okay, so it's so it's highly likely. I'd imagine the clans generally tend to group around the same religion. Usually, not always, but sometimes there's fragmentation. But that's cool.
Yeah, and the name is also almost the same, so we can assume these names are being used and reused within the clan.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is also a pagan one. There we see the name Yahmud or Yahamet. We are not sure again. Wa Achi Hu and his brother Muhammad or Mahmudim. Sorry, because on line 2 it has the M.
So actually, the two brothers have names that are almost identical.
And they do, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it's the same root used for And what we see here is that they are they made a statue for the god Almuk, because that god or deity granted them male children.
Yeah.
Also interesting to note is that we see here, just like in Arabic, that a verb is describing the deity. So in this case, it's there's an Arabic word tahana, meaning to call on someone for help with the crying of tears. And in Arabic, they use also a verb to describe the deity. For instance, Allah Ta'ala, where Ta'ala means to rise or to ascend. So it would be either the risen God or the most exalted God.
Okay.
And here again, Hamedum in praise.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's so frequently used in this description. Yeah.
In this particular inscription, this root is used a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we are going to go to the Safavidic inscription, and this is left to right. Le Muhammad Ben or Ban or Bani Shahemet. So here's the translation of the text. And here Shahemet means black in Aramaic, and the Arabic equivalent is Shaham. So it's not to be confused with the Hebrew name for the city of Nablus. Shem. It's totally different root.
Yeah. Right. God, it's amazing that it's the name is found from way down south to way up north. So that's amazing.
Yeah, but notice the century, right?
Yeah.
We have no date for this particular inscription.
Yeah, so it's quite broad.
Yeah, it's quite broad, but it's maximally the 4th century CE.
Yeah.
And this inscription possibly has a link with South Arabia. So the word Shemmet or Shem only appears in one ancient North Arabian inscription. The following Talmudic inscription on a stone from Basta, currently located in the museum at Petra. And this is its text. Shem Kadi Ze Kara Haul. So Shem came from the desert and settled down to live in this cultivated land he caused terror. The grammar of this Talmudic inscription, which is usage of Ze as a demonstrative, is a Yemenite feature. This text is a pattern of infiltration of tribesmen into settled lands and terror caused amongst the settled people of the land. Possibly the tribesmen of Shechum wrote it as a boast. The Yemenite temple of Khalfan, in inscription Haram 13, attests Sham on the fragmentary line 16, where it appears to be used as a family name. So here it's the end of a temple inscription, and it dedicates or it says it's being built by this Sham or Shum character, and it's the first of his name. So
yeah, I'm a little bit confused. I don't see the point in terms of the South Arabian connection to the Semitic Muhammad. So could you explain how?
Yes, so in South Arabian, all the clans, or nearly all the clans, have a final T on in the clan name. It's not a Safietic feature. A clan name would be a Y, just like in Hebrew.
Right. Okay.
But it could indicate that there's a possibility that this Muhammad is a son of this clan and not this specific person. It could be the case.
Yeah.
But that's just speculative.
Yeah. So that other one that if you go back to this, to this one. No, sorry, I think that wasn't the one you were on. What was the very last one you were on? This one?
This one, yeah.
Okay, so in this one, whereabouts is it where the T is at the end of the word that you're referring to?
Here.
Oh, here. Okay, so that's indication that the person who did the inscription is from South Arabia, but the inscription has been done in Syria. Is that am I understanding?
No, the Yemenite.
You're not making it clear. Sorry.
Okay, so the Yemenite temple is in Yemen, in Khalfan. Now we go on to the last bit of the 1028 inscription, where we see B Muhammad again as meaning by the highly praised. And this translation is not contested by anyone.
Okay, so we can see again also the fact that it's the use of Rab there, which is used in a Jewish context, and with Mahmud or Muhammad or Mahmud, depending on how it's pronounced.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
And it's also noted in Arabic dictionaries with this specific meaning.
Yeah.
So to conclude, without strong Himyaritic influence, the usage of Rab and Hadu in the Quranic Arabic cannot be explained. The Judaic hegemony over the Himyar is beyond doubt at the time Hadu was coined as both secular and spiritual leaders. Some researchers argue that Hamid-based names from South Arabia must have gained popularity in the Arabic-speaking world. However, around the end of the late 3rd and in the early 4th century, we see a sharp decline in the usage of Hamid-based names. The reason is these are theophoric names. Examples include Amit Hamid, meaning female servant of Hamid or the praised one. Hamid Shua, praised with riches. Hamid Il, praised by God. And Wahab Hamid, gift of the praised one. The rationale is a decline in paganism and a rise in monotheistic religions, namely Judaism, Christianity, and other form of monotheism we will look at in a future presentation. And then arguing for an independent naming tradition creates an interesting problem, since Hamid in ancient North Arabian is a false friend, exclusively meaning glory. Thus the name Muhammad or Mahmud would mean glorious one, not praised one. However, no evidence of an independent naming tradition has been shown or argued. Even if Muhammad is a remnant of the earlier South Arabian naming tradition, you cannot escape the strong South Arabian signal in Quranic Arabic. Thus, independently of it being a name or title, regardless, it strengthens the case for strong Himyaritic influence. And then again, in early Islamic history, the Hamid-based names, personal names, are scarcely attested. I found one Sahaba with a Hamid-based name, Abu Ahmed bin Yaghas. And that's clearly a title.
Excellent. So looking at the fall off of the use of the name was that it's an indicator of the decline of paganism, which is of interest independently of what the main topic you were talking about, in the sense that the standard Islamic narrative paints a picture of Arabia as being predominantly pagan in the 7th century, but actually this evidence would indicate that paganism was well on the way out in the 3rd and 4th century, which is what some scholars have argued separately. So,
well, there were remnants, to be honest, up until the 6th or even 7th century. We find some remnants, but
not a dominant pagan culture as is presented in the standard Islamic narrative.
No, absolutely not. It's not there.
Yeah.
So here is the map of Yemen, and as you can see, here is Aden and here is Najran, and then here is the Haram 13 inscription. As you can see, everything is in the area that was controlled by the Himyaritic kingdom.
Yeah.
And then here we have in South Syria we see the Safavidic inscription, and here in Basta we saw the Thamudic inscription, and all the way here in the north we have the Ugaritic inscriptions, and then in the area around Jerusalem most of the biblical passages were either written or gathered. And then here is an overview of where everything was compared to Mecca. And as you can see, everything is around 600 kilometers, at least 600 kilometers from Mecca.
Yeah, and just in case people are confused with the direction, north is on the left-hand side, south is on the right side.
Yeah.
The reason you have it this way is obviously to fit in all of the locations in the shot.
Exactly.
But so clearly Mecca is very far removed from these places. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very far removed, yeah. And even the place where we find up till the 1st century BCE, we find Hamed-based names. The closest is around the area of Dedan and Thamud, and it would be around this area.
Yeah.
But but then we see a sharp decline and not really that many attestations. If there are more attestations, I would be interested. So if people know of attestations that are closer to the 6th century and closer to Mecca, I would really love to know, because I couldn't find them.
Yeah. Wow. Now it's interesting that you have two areas there, way up north and way down south, and both areas you find Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it fits a certain theme that we've been seeing. Yeah.
It does, yeah. But don't forget that in this area, around the 2nd century CE, these cities were also Jewish, or majority Jewish led, but not.
Okay.
It wasn't a Jewish kingdom at that time.
Any final thoughts?
No, this is it.
That's it. Well, thank you very much, Linguist. This has been a great presentation. There's a lot of material here, and I think it's well worth bookmarking this, everyone, so that you've got lots of these inscriptions. And I think this makes a fantastic case of a Jewish influence on the one hand, but also a South Arabian influence in terms of the vocabulary in the Quran. And I'm sure Lloyd de Young will be very happy to see this material, because he's long argued a Yemeni influence on the Quran. So it's probably
so the religious vocabulary is mostly South Arabian, and I have a list of a lot more words and inscriptions to show, but it wouldn't fit in this particular.
No. Right, so there's a lot more,
and a whole lot more.
Yeah, and I think the other thing we should bear in mind that there was a strong connection between the Jews in South Arabia and the Jews up north, so it kind of makes sense.
As well as Babylonia.
As well as with Babylonia. So even though these are two, geographically distant locations, there was a strong connection between the two. The Jews in the south would obviously have to go to the academies up in Babylon and or Palestine, Israel, if they needed to consult any matter. That's where they went to. So fantastic work. Look forward to your future presentations. So thank you so much for dropping by. And if anyone has any questions on the presentation, I'm sure you'll be happy to respond.
Sure.